Oh, we're starting this one with some good energy, guys. Some good energy.
I never thought I'd be on a podcast like this.
Literally, welcome to the Pause Rewind Play podcast.
Thank you.
We're glad to have you here. What's up, folks? Welcome back. It's been a hot minute. Last time we were here talking about The Last of Us. This time we're going to have a rundown of the Ant-Man trilogy. But we have Tim on as a special guest to cover essentially what we've been watching, Ant-Man, and Ant-Man and the Wasp. How do you feel about that, man?
I liked them. I mean, they're definitely not my favorite Marvel movies by any stretch, but
okay.
Ant-Man 1 was awesome. Ant-Man 1 was fun. I mean, it helps that I loved Paul Rudd. He's a total stud in everything he's done. I mean, this is super random, but we watched Clueless the other day, my wife and I, and it holds up. It's funny.
It's pretty classic.
Paul Rudd's still there?
Oh, he's
I've never watched Clueless before. Okay, Tim, I'm going to stop you really quick because we can't quite go too deep into your feelings about Ant-Man yet. However, let's introduce Tim, and no one's better to do that on this podcast than Vince, because Vince has known you the longest.
Yeah, how long have we known each other? Like 34 years?
34 years.
Something like
it's
that.
Crazy. We grew up right next to each other.
We both grew up down in central Utah. We were next door neighbors our entire lives up until like late teens, like right before our 20s, I think, or maybe into our 20s.
Yeah.
And then we moved up to Utah Valley, and that sucks. But we're fixing it because they're going to move in next door here in a little while.
Wow.
Right?
I don't know about next door, but how about the same city?
BFFs.
Yeah, for sure. We're bros. We're definitely brothers. It's, and
it really is.
It's
like
crazy.
Growing up, I have two sisters. And growing up with him right next door, it's him and there's one other guy that grew up about a block and a half down the street from us, and we were just like almost inseparable growing up. Like,
is that another friend of yours that I know?
Yeah, Kent.
Yes, I knew it. Okay, sorry, I got excited too.
No, it's all good, dude. Gunnison wasn't far away.
No.
And he's here today. Like they've been spending the night. Him and his wife and his baby are upstairs. They've been just kind of hanging out for the past 2 days. We were up at Snow Basin snowboarding all day yesterday.
So good.
Freaking cold day, but
it was windy, right? Yesterday
it was snowing on us like the whole day.
Really?
You go up and it was like another fresh layer. It was. Ooh.
It was one of those days when you hate being on the lift.
Uh-huh.
And when you get off, the snow is coming down, and it's like hitting you in the face like knives.
Do you have beard sickles?
You did.
I get a little bit, right?
Yeah. No, it was amazing. But like it was,
Come up a little bit
sorry.
closer.
Like the first run, like the first part, like first 200 yards is like smacking you in the face. You don't have a face guard, which he's too cheap to buy one.
I have one here. That's the problem. I have one here at the house, so I don't need another one. And number two, my coat did the trick. I just had to layer up a little bit.
Yeah. Okay. But then when you got like past 200 yards, it was amazing. So that's what happened. You freeze up there, you hit your face, then you get incredible. You get down, you're like, let's go again.
Yeah.
I'm practically salivating with envy because I haven't been snowboarding in so long.
It's my first time of the season, man.
What?
Yeah, and it's been like the best snow year in like a decade, and I missed almost the entire thing. Now I'm all sad that it's almost over.
We got 4 more passes, man. 4 half days.
You want to hear something crazy? I was like getting ready to go snowboarding. I had it planned. I was going to go with my dad and my brother, and my baby's not supposed to be due for 2 weeks. And I was like, sweet. And then wake up in the freaking morning, and my wife's like, time to give birth. And I'm like, so I didn't get to go snowboarding, became a new dad. I guess the trade-off is fair and adequate, and I'm hyped to be a dad.
Congrats.
But
as the only single 35-year-old adult here, your kids are ruining my life.
Well,
come out and play with me.
Actually, I have a question about this, Vince, and I know this is distracting from the podcast itself, but is it weird that like I'm not trying to say this or anything else, but how much do your friends change after they have kids? Do they just disappear?
That's a great question.
You can talk shit on all of us.
For real.
They don't disappear. They're just not as available as they used to always be. Like back in the day, everyone was available, always ready to like drop stuff. Now it's like you got to put a little planning into it.
Yeah.
And that's fine. Like I get it. I got a dog. Just kidding. I'm not that person. I love my dog.
You have to plan around the dog a little bit, though. Even if you're like, I don't really do that much, you're like, oh, shit, I have to figure out what to do with my dog. And I feel that because I was like, my dog can sit in the backyard for like 24 hours. I don't care. No, but that's not accurate.
It's not bad. Like Zoe's been hanging out with us for the past 2 days, and it's been fine. No. I mean, it's probably harder for you guys because you and Bree are juggling it back and forth, but.
Nah, it's been awesome. I mean, if definitely, if people are super chill about it, we just take her with us. I mean, we went to like a University of Utah tennis match, and she was just with us partying, and it was fun. And then, I don't know, we go all over the place. But yeah.
You got me excited because I thought you were going to bring up the chicken sandwich.
Oh, dude.
Oh,
yeah.
So we had to delay the filming of this podcast for a chicken sandwich. How good was it?
Second best place I've been since we started doing like these chicken barbecue places or chicken grill, whatever you want to call them.
Yeah,
but
like the fried chicken
fried
sandwich
chicken,
places.
yeah.
What's your number one?
Pretty Bird.
Sugar House, dude. Like the one in Salt Lake, I hear people talk crap about. The one in Sugar House is so fucking good, dude.
It's good.
It's so good.
Okay.
This place was good too. I really,
it was awesome.
I really liked their house sauce, like the sauce that they put on the sandwich.
Yeah.
The fries were
stuff.
legit too.
It's called Houston Hot Chicken, I think.
Sponsor us. We're coming for you.
Houston, Texas hot chicken.
Yeah, something like that.
Houston, Texas hot
It says
chicken.
Houston TX and then underneath it hot chicken.
It's
Yeah.
HHC is what I saw like the thing about. So
The billboard has been teasing me for like 2 weeks.
Showing a
Every
little
time I
ankle?
drive past Point in the Mountain, it's like, hey, check out our look at our sandwich over here. You want to come and try it?
showing you a little thigh and a little breast.
A lot of bread.
And it is like definitely of the two places we're talking about, that place has a solid vibe inside.
Okay.
It is good.
I like it.
It was yummy.
I'm here for it. Well, great. Yeah. I'm glad. Tim, I'm glad you're here. I'm glad we could get through that and that we know you're here. But let's go ahead and let's talk about what we've been watching recently.
Well,
and
we
I'm
got
gonna
someone else over here that I don't
We
think
need to talk to Josh.
Well, that's where I'm going.
Oh,
what
my
up
bad.
to Josh?
Love it.
Hey man, how you been?
I've been excellent.
Excellent.
Been so good.
Would you rate it on a scale of 1 to 3 Cadbury eggs? How well have you been?
Can you cut the eggs?
Yes.
2 and
7/8?
3/7.
Whoa, I don't even know that math. But great. I'm glad. I hope you're doing well. What you been watching lately? What's been on the radar for you?
I've been bouncing all over right now because I'm like excited for things that are coming up. I'm super excited. We've only got a couple more weeks until Ted Lasso season 3 hits Apple TV.
This guy.
And I'm so excited for it. And
Just
so
met
right
him.
now,
We're best friends now.
there we go. And so I'm like super excited for that. And so I don't really want to get like super deep into anything else new that I know I'm not going to finish before that. So I've been going all over the place. I've been rewatching Better Call Saul. I've been watching a lot of different movies. I watched, let's see. So for TV series, obviously I was rewatching Better Call Saul. Obviously I've been watching The Last of Us, but we'll save that talk for our part 2 episode, which we'll definitely be doing. And just a lot of different stuff as far as TV goes. And then for movies, I recently watched 2 horror movies. I know we're not really in that spooky season time of year, but I watched Smile and I watched Megan.
Wait,
I
is
watched both of
Smile the
them.
one where they just had people going and doing like this?
Yes, but creepier. It's like a creepy smile. It's like a bad smile. And I thought that Smile was good.
Yeah.
It was like a little trippy. It kind of gave me like It Follows and The Ring vibes, but like modern and a little bit different. And like not in a rude way, because I still thought the movie was good. Like not as good as those 2 movies, right? Like those are some of my favorite horror movies of all time, but it was not as good as those, but it still gave me the same kind of vibe, and I still thought it was good. Megan, a lot of people have like mixed feelings over, but from what I've seen, it's been mostly positive, and I just like wasn't about it. People are talking about it that it's like she's like the new like doll horror, she's the new Chucky, she's the new this, and I know that they're gonna make another one. You know, like they set it up at the end of the movie, like oh, like she'll be back, stuff like that. And I thought the movie was good, but I just wasn't feeling it as much.
Really? Not at all.
Not at all.
Not even
It was-
oh shoot, I just forgot the name of it. What's that last horror movie you did? The bad one.
Oh gosh.
That one.
Which one?
Malignant. Not even good in like a malignant way.
No. Like it, no, I gave it, it's not even just that. It like, there were good things about it and I understood what they were doing, but there wasn't ever any parts like that where I was like, this is so bizarre that it's crazy, but I kind of like it. Cause that's kind of like what Malignant was like for me. No, Megan was just like, you could feel that it was trying to kind of do that, you know, start a new like franchise with, this like AI doll that's learning more than it should. Right. And trying to protect this girl at all costs, but it turns bad. And I was like, it was okay. I think I gave it like 2.5 stars on Letterboxd.
Bummer.
Which
I
is
was
like,
hoping more for it.
and here's the thing. There are definitely a lot higher reviews, so you could watch it and like it a lot more than me. But for me, I wasn't as much a fan.
You weren't like walking out of the theater doing the TikTok dance that's going all over the Megan dance.
I put on the scarf and the dress and everything. Vince. What do you mean?
Can you
No,
do
I
the
watched-
TikTok dance, Vince?
No, I haven't seen the movie. I don't know. The most that I've seen of the Megan dance is from the trailer.
Oh,
Well, you can watch it at home now if you have Peacock.
Oh, good. It's already out on Peacock?
It's on Peacock.
if you want to see her Peacock,
fast.
you can watch it on Peacock.
I have Peacock now. I've been watching.
That was really bad, actually.
Oh, I missed it completely.
Oh, that was foul. I'm so sorry, world. That was gross.
I'm like too focused on the next thing.
Yeah,
I'm gonna say.
sorry.
I got all excited to talk about Ryan Johnson's new show, Poker Face, on Peacock, and I saw an
Oh.
opportunity to talk about it and jumped. Missed the joke entirely.
Tell me about that. I've seen like the ads for it, but I haven't watched it.
It's good. I told you about it a little bit. It's good. It's perfect for me for a background show. Like if I want to sit on my couch, I don't want to like commit to something too hard. I want to sit on my couch and have something on in the background and play on my phone. Perfect for that. The premise is it's a murder mystery show, and every week is a new murder of the week. And it's got one main character that's consistently through the entire series. You're kind of following her arc, right? But for the first like 10 to 20 minutes of the show, she's, except for the pilot, I've only watched 3 or 4 episodes so far. But for the first like 15 minutes, she's not even in the show until, and in that 15 minutes, it's actually showing how the reason the murder takes place, how it takes place, and who does it. So it's not like I'm going to figure out who this murder show is. It shows you right up front. And then the back half of the show is figuring out or watching this main character solve the case, even though you already know about it. So it's like not something that you like have to super pay attention to because it's already like laid out in front of you, and then you can just like enjoy the characters. And there's a lot of famous people in it. Like I think it's Sean Penn is in episode 1, and he's phenomenal in it.
I love Sean Penn.
And every episode's got like a new like really famous, really good actor in the movie that plays into the story in some way. So
Just
it's
because I
good.
love Knives Out so much, like I gotta check it out.
Yeah, I think you'd like it if you do like Knives Out. Like I said, it's not like I'm gonna try to figure it out, but it's good. It's
but I'm
Ryan
just saying,
Johnson.
like that
So
vibe, it's so fun. For sure.
I know who Sean Penn is. I've seen Milk.
I hope it's Sean Penn. Hang on, I better check.
Oh man, does this happen?
Oh no.
Crickets.
No, we
Crickets.
we are
Oh, wait,
on
which is
top
that
of
one?
every name that ever comes up on the episode.
Can you?
Here we go. We find out Vince knows every actor
I'm
and actress
sorry.
that ever.
Wait, this is the one with Natasha
How do I find?
Leon, whatever her name
Yeah,
is.
yeah.
Just type in.
She's so
You're
beautiful.
like episode 1
Poker
cast.
Face episode 1 cast.
Yeah.
Maybe you don't see him because he wasn't in it.
He's an international man of mystery, that man.
Just go ahead.
All right. Well,
Oh no.
I'm going to jump in really quick and talk about myself. That's what I'm good at, really, and what I've been watching lately. So I finally convinced my wife to start watching Ted Lasso.
Yes.
Sorry, that was a really weird Ted Lasso. But finally, we started watching that, and we are zipping through it. It's great because we are at home with the new baby primarily. We picked up some trash TV that I'm really proud of watching. It's called Love Island.
We should probably go grab my wife.
It was Adrian Brody.
What?
It's not Sean Penn.
You messed up Sean Penn for Adrian Brody?
It was Adrian Brody.
These are completely different people with different faces.
And I'm even made a whole quote from Community about Sean Penn, just for it to be ruined.
Let's talk about trash TV for a while.
Love Island.
Love Island. So my wife, her friends were like, hey, you're at home not doing too much. They recently also had children. And they're like, you should watch Love Island. And let me tell you, what the is happening in Britain? Like, who are these people? And like,
Have you finished yet?
no. We're not even close to finishing the first season because there's
Can't
like,
wait for you to talk to Brie about it. I know what happens just because she tells me all this stuff.
but yeah, well, that's what's crazy is like I'm not watching it fully, but I come in and like I weirdly get invested with my wife with it. But then I'm like, what is happening? I've decided, and I'm gonna offend all of the UK by saying this, that Britain is the Florida of the UK. Like it's a weird place. I've decided people that come from it, all these lads, weird as shit. And I looked up one of the characters on Instagram because I was like, oh, curious about her, right? And my wife, because my wife looked up some stuff and like knows a little bit. And I looked her up, and now all I'm getting are these like British like women like in my recommended feed, and I'm like, I look at like cycling, movies, climbing normally and a little bit of baby stuff that my wife sends me. Yeah, it went from that to just nothing but British women. And I'm like, I think I'm broken. Like, that's all I have to say. But anyhow, on other news, we have been watching a few other things. I watched The War of the Worlds from 2005 with Tom Hanks.
So good.
Sorry, Tom Cruise, not Tom Hanks. Oh, dear.
I'm pretty sure it's Adrian Brody.
I also watched The Pianist, which he is in. No, I'm just kidding. I did not watch that one. But I love The War of the Worlds, and I think that we should do an episode on it because, like, really quickly, The Last of Us is set in like 2004, right, when the world ended. 2005 is when this film came out, and it has very similar vibes. So it's kind of like really cool to go back and watch that because I watched it early in the AM with the baby. And then I've just been still watching a lot of YouTube. So much
you're back
YouTube.
on that kick.
Oh, yeah. Well, so there's this YouTuber. His name is
Used to
Martin
be every week.
Doolard.
That's something.
And he's amazing. So what he's doing is he's rebuilding these 2-stone cabins in the Italian Alps. And it is amazing to see what he's done and stuff like that right now.
I love stuff like that.
Yeah. All that just to go to build. And so I was back on a kick and rewatching like a number of those. And then it recommended this couple who are doing the same thing in Portugal. Oh, man. 45 videos later, here we are. So that's been life lately. So
if you like random cabins in the middle of European forest, you should watch this movie that you recommended to me.
Oh, yeah?
Called The Ritual.
The Ritual, yeah. That's a fascinating. Have you guys seen that movie?
Yeah.
Oh, Tim. This is a luscious vacation amongst friends going out into the green forest, and they find this cabin. And as you know, with all good fairy tales, the cabin up in the end and what goes on around it. I'm sorry, everyone. But it's a really cool story. It's on Netflix. You should watch it. But it's based in Sweden, so it's really cool. But yeah, that's what I've been watching, and I watched all of the Ant-Mans in preparation for Quantumania, which we're talking about today. Vince, do you want to go, or Tim, do you feel comfortable with the format enough? Do you want to go now? What have you been watching?
What have I been watching?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Come a little closer.
Oh, sorry about that. Yeah.
you're good.
So what I've been watching, I've with a kid, I definitely plan out our stuff. So like one show we're like totally watching, very right when it comes out is The Last of Us because that's been so fun. Beat the game, and my wife is actually she loves that. Like I know what's going to happen, so like I don't tell her, but she can see me like sit up like, oh man. I know what's about to happen at the end of Kansas City. I'm so excited. And so that was really fun. And she's like, what's going to happen? I'm like, just watch. So, I mean I'm a huge Seinfeld guy. Like I swear that's my food TV. When I'm having lunch break, because I work from home, I'll throw on an episode. Makes me happy.
I'm pretty sure like 60% of our conversation somehow finds a way to like insert a Seinfeld quote, and it almost always, like this is like 60% of our time we'll be talking about one topic, and then we're talking about a Seinfeld episode. Yeah, happens all the time.
It's the best. I love it so much. It's so fun. So yeah, definitely that Ted Lasso. I mean,
prepping up. Are you prepped?
Oh, dude, for sure. I mean, I'll sometimes like when we were flying to Cancun just last month, I was like, I want to watch Ted Lasso, and so I just watch all the way on the flights. Oh, I forgot how good it is. I just always like, congratulations, you both met somebody awesome. Like just all that stupid crap. It's the best. So that, and then the last thing real quick that I'm watching is like F1, the producers that have now done a tennis TV show and also a golf show, and the full swing has been so sweet to watch. I just love that kind of documentary stuff. Yeah, that's what.
Are you watching the Oscar documentaries?
The Oscar documentary. What is
the nominations? There's like 5 Oscar nominations for best documentaries that have come out. I've watched 3 of them so far, and you gotta watch. I can't remember what it's called. It's like Novinsky. I don't remember. It starts with the N, but it's a
Nowitzki, the basketball player.
Nope. It's about a Russian guy. It's about a Russian guy who's like running for office. I think he's a lawyer, and he wants to beat out Putin, get him out of the way. And it's a trip, man. Like the guy's. I don't want to spoil it for you if you don't know who he is.
Is it on Netflix? What's it on?
It's on.
Wait, is this the guy who kind of like went to YouTube and did a bunch of like kind of like, I know about this story, but I don't know what you're talking about.
Putin tried to kill him, like tried to murder him,
yeah,
like tried to poison him, and he survived.
Freaking crazy! He's on a flight, right? And
dude,
like,
you gotta share this to me after this podcast.
It's
this
interesting.
No spoilers, Casey.
Insane. No, so sorry. Shout out to a different
true story stuff. I'll watch it even if I hear what's happened.
You'll like this one too because it's like a real life thriller movie happening to this guy.
Yeah,
like,
I'm way down.
Crazy.
Like I know about this because of another YouTuber, Johnny Harris, and he like did this whole thing on what's going on with this type of stuff a while ago. And that story, like when you're talking the edge of your seat with The Last of Us, I was like sitting up on the story, like, what's gonna happen? Like I didn't know. So cool.
It's called Navalny.
Navalny.
It's good. Check it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one's worth it.
What's it on?
I think it's on
Google it later.
HBO. I think it's HBO. Is it HBO or Hulu? One of the two.
Yeah.
But I'm 90% sure it's HBO. I've been using a lot of percentages in this podcast, so
I'm 100% certain you don't know which one there's correct.
yeah, I just throw out percentages like I don't really know where it's actually
All right,
at.
man. What have you been watching?
Yeah, Vince, what you
I'm
been
done.
watching?
I did Poker Face. I don't need to talk anymore about it.
Okay. So are we ready to talk a little bit about...
Except for Star Wars is really good. Mandalorian's coming back and Bad Batch is amazing. Anyway, so
Oh,
let's talk about
hold
Bad
up.
Batch is so good.
You're watching Bad Batch?
I already finished.
How? No.
Well,
new
I mean,
season?
you're
caught up.
Yeah, caught up. Sorry.
Well, we'll have a conversation
So-
after this. Don't know how we've been hanging out for 2 days and it hasn't come up.
bro, I've told you about Clone Wars all the time. You were always like, yeah, it's okay.
No, that's bull crap. It's me.
We'll talk about it after this. No, Bad Batch is sweet. Nolan's got me into it because Emery, like,
good.
Clone Wars is the best.
So
Sorry.
good.
But I feel terrible I didn't watch this movie that we're about to talk about.
Ant-Man.
No,
Yeah.
I was actually going to throw
It's
in
my
a Star
crappy
Wars
friend
plug
that
really
told me
quick here as well.
Like I said, you're welcome to stick around as long as you want.
Yeah.
If you want to be spoiled, we're getting into some heavy spoilers here. So if you want to take off, I'm happy you're just on at least this much of the show.
Yeah.
Dude, real talk. I'm being serious. I'd like to come on more often.
Oh, come down anytime you
Yeah.
want. I mean,
Do you know
assuming
me?
you two are cool
We
about it.
talk
I'm
about
over here.
movies so much.
It just depends like what you like. If you don't like the same stuff I like,
Ted
then you're not
Lasso.
welcome.
Oh, remember what he said about White Lotus?
Yeah.
I might have to vet, see what he thinks about the next movie or show we're gonna talk about.
We're going to start a text group and just text you random
I like
titles
this
of
Josh guy.
movies.
He's got the vibe like us.
Oh man, no, we always love having guests on it, so it's super great.
Dude,
like I
for
would
real.
love to have you back, of
Let's
course.
do it. Wait, what's your Star Wars thing?
Oh, I was just going to say, I finally started watching Obi-Wan Kenobi, and I'm really enjoying it. I'm 2 episodes in, really fun. I didn't think that was of importance until you guys started talking Star Wars. And I was like, wait a second. I'm even enjoying it enough that I went to Walmart today to look for, sorry, Walmart sponsor us, to look for Star Wars Legos because I was
dude.
like, I want to build. So I built the...
Here's where your knowledge
Fighter?
gets tested.
X-Wing?
Can
No.
you name this shit?
So it's the Slave 1 from episode 1 or 2 whenever Jango Fett comes in, you know? So I built that. I bought that and built it when the baby was born because I just was like, I'm going to be up at weird times.
Yeah.
And so I just bought a couple Lego sets and built
This
that.
is the kind of stuff I was telling you about. I still haven't bought you a baby gift. I'm buying you some Legos.
Can
Send me a
I
link to what
send
Lego
you
want.
some Legos?
Yeah, send me a link to a Lego set. I'm buying you a Lego set.
Okay.
I'll randomly just go to Target and buy some Legos.
Yeah. Well,
dude.
okay, really
I
quick.
built a Batmobile like out of nowhere, just
That's
randomly.
Okay, so just so you guys know, you can go to lego.com and look at their current sets, and if you have a repository of Legos, you can go and get the instruction manual for the Lego set that you want to build.
Lego sponsor us.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
Lego, sponsor
Lego
us.
sponsor-
Actually,
I will
return
come every-
my freaking email because I applied for a job. But anyhow, no.
That'd be a sick job, man.
I know. But anyhow, no. Yeah, so you can go onto lego.com and actually pull off their the instructions for it. You don't have to pay for them; they're free. So if you have a good old chunk of Lego sitting around there,
You'd still, yeah,
you could build it if you have approximately the right stuff.
That's pretty cool.
So just wanted to let you know.
love
Also,
it.
yeah, that's what's going down. I'm sorry to interject so many times, but you started talking about Star Wars, got the wheels turning.
And Legos.
Yeah, Legos. So here we are. Anyhow, we're gonna talk
Good.
a little bit. Oh, sorry.
I'm bouncing.
okay.
You're gonna bounce.
Dude, I haven't watched the movie.
Well, we're going to talk about Ant-Man 1 and 2 really quickly.
Oh,
you
okay.
had a couple opinions on those, but that's what I wanted to ask.
Yeah.
Is let's go through really quickly. Let's talk about Ant-Man as a whole, when it was announced, kind of how, if you can recall your feelings. Paul Rudd is Ant-Man. What was your first thought? Josh, go.
I feel bad because it's been a really long time, and so I'm going to sound super stupid, and I need you guys to help correct me. Was Ant-Man Paul Rudd's first appearance, or was he in Civil War or something else before he was in Ant-Man?
Civil War.
Civil War. Because I think Ant-Man came out between Infinity War and Avengers Endgame.
so
I want to say.
no,
Am I wrong? Or did Ant-Man 2 come out between the two?
I want to
think
say
Ant-Man
it's that.
2 came out
Ant-Man
between.
2.
So
came
yeah, I
out
think
before
Ant-Man
that.
Kit was his first appearance.
when was Paul Rudd? So we'll look it up. But basically, so Ant-Man was definitely it was definitely, I agree with what Tim said earlier. Ant-Man is definitely a really, really strong movie in the MCU franchise. It is far from like my favorite Marvel movie, but it is definitely like Ant-Man is almost as good as having Bernard on the podcast.
Sorry.
Almost. No, what?
Bernie, come here.
We're so happy.
Come here, bud. Come here.
Oh my gosh.
We need more views on YouTube, so we have to make sure this happens.
Hi, everyone. This is a pug.
It's
Bernie, how do you feel about Ant-Man? Will you tell the microphone, please?
Got the pug in the headlights.
Yeah, he's a beautiful boy. But yeah, so
Those
sorry.
are my basic thoughts. Where it's a super cool story, right? I love like the idea of Ant-Man, right? Just being someone who's able to grow and shrink like at will. You get into the whole quantum realm and all that stuff, and it's super interesting. And I love San Francisco as a place. I've been there a few times. Obviously, I'm a huge San Francisco 49ers fan, and so like I love it being set there. And so there's just a lot of good things going on with the first Ant-Man. It was definitely solid, and I think it warranted, and we'll get obviously into our own thoughts about the second one and the third one. It definitely warranted a trilogy, because there's lots of movies that go in the MCU and they just kind of, you know,
Sorry.
it'll either stop or it'll
the
they'll kind of just flow it into the main storyline and they won't have their own stories anymore. Ant-Man was one that I think definitely at least warranted a trilogy, if nothing else.
Mm-hmm. I totally agree. I loved Ant-Man 1 and 2. I honestly didn't like them the first time I saw them. Nah, that's not true. I've never 100% disliked a Marvel movie, any of them. But Ant-Man 1 and 2 were a couple that released that at first, when I first saw them, I was kind of like, they're fine. You know, they're good, but I'm not like in love with them. On rewatch, I love them. Like when I went back and watched them again, I was like, why did I feel so low on these movies? I love watching Paul Rudd. He's charming. He's funny. He's easily the best part of the franchise. It's a small scale movie, so it's not like neither of them are like world ending things. 1 and 2, not counting number 3, right? Because 3 goes into a whole different thing. But 1 and 2 is just like, it's charming. It's fun. I'm one of the few people that actually really like number 2. I really enjoyed it. I think more than number 1. I loved Ghost. I thought she was awesome. Michael Pena.
That's the thing. It's like
He's so good. And that one was great. I loved Michael Pena's.
I don't think this is a spoiler just because it's, you know, you can just look at the credits. I definitely felt a super lack of Michael Pena in the third one, right? It was sad that he wasn't
He's so funny in those first two. You just feel like just the way he just goes off explaining what's going on. Like that would have been so much fun with the quantum realm stuff to just hear him try to explain what's going on. You know, it would have been so cool.
We needed him doing the Korg thing, and like he did like
recapping the story
recapping the thing. Michael Pena just sitting at like a coffee table or someplace, like just describing what's going on, and that's like flashing to different moments. Just the same. Tim's least favorite Marvel movie, based off of the conversation we had earlier, is Thor 5.
I did not say my least favorite. I said my least favorite Thor.
I'm assuming that, which makes an ass out of me. But however, I'm just saying with how you felt.
They're all saying it's like it holds up to Ragnarok. I'm sorry. I'm here to like everyone in the YouTube comments.
We did not say it holds up to Ragnarok.
You should have seen it. You should have seen it. They were standing strong. And by the way, Josh wasn't. We respect Josh. These two were like, what? It's so good.
All right, you can leave now. We can be done with you.
Okay. Wait, so I do have to know now, like which is the worst, your least favorite?
Yeah,
and I know it's like a big. And if you don't know, that's
dude.
All right.
Okay, actually, all right. So this one's gonna rattle Vince.
Oof. I'm ready.
I liked Thor 4 more than Iron Man 3.
Iron Man 3.
Iron Man 3 is the one where, do you want me to tell you? It's the one where he builds the suit around the world type thing, where he like has all the different Iron
guy
Man.
With the kid.
The guy, the fake guy that he's an actor.
The Mandarin.
Yeah, the Mandarin.
Yeah, like dude, I was so pissed because like the previews were so sick, and then it's just like acting and he's
ready for.
So I feel like since we're talking about that really quickly, Iron Man 3 was like a bit of indigestion. You got to like burp to get it out and move forward with your life, and that's how I felt about that movie.
Are we gonna act like Spider-Man's or because they're Sony or
no? It's still all part of the Marvel universe.
It's all okay. Then Spider-Man 3 is way worse than.
You mean the Raimi Spider-Mans? Sorry, I thought you meant the other Spider-Mans.
Tom Holland ones.
I thought that as well, and I was going to tell you to leave.
No. The Tom Holland ones are amazing. Like that was them acting with like acting out a fake thing, like with Gyllenhaal, that was so cool. But
and that's not even 3 in the series. That's 2.
No, I'm just saying Spider-Man 3 of Sony with what's
Tom Holland?
no the very first one.
Tobey Maguire.
Tobey Maguire.
The Raimi ones.
Sucked so bad.
I'm not a fan either.
With that 70s show guy as the
Topher Grace,
oh,
yeah.
dude.
There were some interesting choices there.
Pile of
The
dog
height
shit.
of the emo culture was happening at that time. They had
So-
to throw that in there.
Hey, don't.
So it's kind of the
disrespect
curse.
the emo. There's great music in there.
I'm a recovering emo kid.
It's kind of the curse of the
Nice. He likes
trilogy,
it
right?
still.
Like number 3 is never as good as number 2, which is almost never as good as number 1. What are your feelings on Quantumania? Like, you think it holds up compared to number 1 and 2? And I guess I haven't heard your opinion on 1 and 2 yet.
I love 1, man. Just because I love Paul Rudd. Like, he's so cool. And I went into it thinking it's going to be funny. Like, and so I just had a different vibe than like going into Batman. So that's why I love 1 and 2. But 3, I haven't seen, but all your guys' vibes and little tiny comments, it doesn't sound that good.
I have opinions that might be contradictory to your guys's, and I'm sorry. Josh already kind of knows because we went together. We sat exactly next to each other. We almost touched bodies. However, we put a chair in between us for
I was about to say, I was like, that is not true. We
Okay,
went on a
so-
Sunday, and there was like no one around us, so we put
You
some
guys are like
space.
Jerry and Kramer. You got to have a little buffer zone.
That's what we talked about.
Exactly. You know, if you're watching on the couch at home, would you sit right next to each other? No. Space
Sometimes depends on the person. But here, really quickly. So my thoughts on Ant-Man 1, 2. I actually really enjoy the first 2 movies a lot. I think that they're a lot of fun. I like that it's not such a serious character, but they're like Paul Rudd in this, like as Scott Lang, is pretty clueless of a character overall. Excuse me, that's ruined the whole bit. But anyhow, but he's good at it. He's good at being that. And if you think about Paul Rudd's career and all the characters he's played with, I love that this is the progression into Marvel that he made. Like, it's perfect for him and it makes sense. It allows him to be like a serious character, but also being a lighthearted but serious. That's what I liked about it. So, and also Cassie for life, Team Cassie, get to the ones you love, take care of those you love. Boom, love it. So yeah, that's my opinion. And I do think that 3 was a good progression, even though there was a few long spots in it. Not giving any spoilers here. I thought it was a good movie, but I will say of the 3, I would put it at the very bottom. So that's how I feel. I'm not going to give any spoilers because I don't want Tim to feel sad that he didn't go to the movie to prepare for this with us. No, you're good. We're not into spoiler territory yet.
I'm ready to go into spoilers.
Oh, all right.
I got chicken to eat, so.
Tim, it was nice to have you on the podcast. Thank you for coming.
Nice to meet you, brother.
Very nice to have you on.
Yeah, now that Tim's gone, we can get down to the nitty gritty of things. That sounds so bad. It's like, now that Tim's gone.
Now
we can spill the
beans.
Just kidding. No, Tim is a great guy. We're glad that he joined us. Literally, we just invited him. And we're like, come down and do it. And he's like, I haven't watched the movie. And we're like, let's get you on the first part of the pod. So, Tim, thank you.
We just had to give him a taste so he'll come back.
Yeah, a little taste.
Everyone comes back.
Showing him like that billboard with that chicken. Give him a little thigh, little breast, and then move him forward. Buy your chicken sandwiches. Anyhow.
All right, so we got to establish here that we're going into spoilers for Quantumania. Yeah.
Yes.
Spoilers for
Spoiler
Quantumania.
Because I got stuff to say.
You got stuff to say?
All right.
I'm going to try to be as positive as I can about this movie, but I'm not going to lie. There's going to be a lot of negativity coming from my side of the table over here.
All right. I'm going to start off really quick with my general feelings. My general feelings about Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania. Ant-Man 3 was horrible.
Wow.
It was not good.
Did we watch the same movie?
We sat next to each other, Casey. Even if in some weird multiverse, they showed different movies to different people at different theaters, we sat next to each other. And I went home that night and I started, because I knew like...
He cried when he went home, actually. He sent me a photo. Tears running down his
Because of how
face
beautiful it was?
Because of how wonderful that film was. Just kidding. Sorry, Josh.
I went in... Okay, so usually if I go into a film with low expectations and the movie is mid, I'll usually kind of like it because my expectations were low. My expectations for this movie were extremely low, and I walked out not liking it. There's not I will say that there is things, and I'm sure we'll talk about it, and I'll probably even be like, oh yeah, I guess I didn't think about that. Be cool. There were definitely things that I liked, but overall, there was way more that I didn't like about this movie. There was not a lot that really like kept my attention. I feel like there was too much that was done, and my little letterboxed review, which I feel sums up a lot of what went on with this movie pretty well. It's just like, yes, the Hollywood dilemma of having so much money that you can do every single can we, and you never think about a single should we.
Wow. Okay. I want to add a guest comment from the web really quickly, okay? Really fast.
Is it positive?
My friend Flip also felt the same way as you did. Thanks, Flip, for your comment. He said it had to be a big undertaking to try and make visuals for Quantum Realm, but I feel like it was entirely green screen, and that got old. Janet not talking about anything before felt like a plot hole. I liked it overall, but I feel like the Marvel movies are slipping on quality lately. And I think that's a good segue because I kind of felt the same way, even though I love this movie. I want to highlight that. I love this movie. But you know that picture that they do of Game of Thrones where season 1 through so and such, beautiful horse.
Like the horse.
The horse. And then this one is like the woo one. So it's like, no,
it's like a child drew it.
Yeah, that's how we're going. And even though I enjoyed the movie, I really liked it. And I will say I enjoyed it. It was not the best Marvel film. And I want to acknowledge that. So, Vince, I'm going to pass it off to you. Once again, thanks, Flip, for your comments. But I want to pass it off to you really quickly, Vince, and your thoughts.
I think this might be one of my least favorite Marvel movies out of all the Marvel movies that come out. I am the opposite of you, Josh. I went in this movie thinking nothing's better than a big blockbuster Marvel movie. Like, I've been pretty down on the TV shows, pretty disappointed, talking a lot of crap on them over the last little while. But I went into Thor, Love and Thunder, enjoyed it fine. I went into Black Widow, enjoyed it fine. Everyone else is like freaking out. I'm sitting over here like, yeah, it's not the best, but I still liked it. I walked out of this one thinking I might be done. Like if this is what Marvel's doing, like I haven't enjoyed anything since the last Spider-Man movie. Like there's parts of all of them that I've enjoyed. Like I've enjoyed the Thor stuff, like the Chris Hemsworth stuff specifically. I enjoyed the horror element of Doctor Strange, but I walked out of this just like down, really down. And I thought that Kang could bring it up. I was really, really excited for Kang. I loved Kang the Conqueror in this. I thought he was awesome, like really liked him, and they killed him off. And like I thought, okay, well, there's an infinite amount of Kangs. There's gonna be another really cool Kang that's gonna come up. And then that post credit comes up, and it's like a freaking Halloween costume show. And I'm like, these are the Kangs that we're gonna get? Like, I want freaking Kang the Conqueror back. I want to see this big threatening villain, not these guys that are kind of speaking in weird accents, kind of like in goofy costumes.
So
kinda, I don't know that. I don't know anything about the comic version of this. So for all I know, these are like actual comic Kang characters. But for me, it did not work, and I expected to walk out not knowing who this guy was, but like thinking like with Thanos, thinking like I don't know who that guy is, but he looks pretty threatening.
Right.
He's this big purple guy.
Like knowing he's the next big villain of the universe, because he is, right? But we're walking out, and that's like what's coming.
Yeah,
right.
It was really a bummer.
His whole monologue at the end, like, "Oh no, something's coming. It's gonna end the world. Oh, I guess it'll be fine." And you're like, "What? This is coming? Freaking Pharaoh Kang!" And this guy's just yelling.
It was really disheartening.
I think I agree with you. I was sad the King was killed. I want to highlight that, like that he was gone. I am ultimately curious though about the variety of Kangs that are in there, but like the leaders were not like exciting to me, like those ones. And
yeah,
then,
that's the cool part. Is like there is
so many.
They can do.
You can do
they
literally
want.
whatever you want.
Well, I feel like this one, right, is supposed to be kind of like a branch off the Loki series where they're talking about like all the different ifs, ands, cans, right, that we're talking about over here. But I'm curious, and I'm not trying to defend it. Like I'm not standing on this hill defending it, but I'm still open to it. But I want Marvel to like clean up their act. I feel like they've gotten so big and so far in their range. If I had two hands, we'd be going out like this. That they're not able to create a quality product all the time. Still.
I'm moving out of the way of your other arm.
Yeah, it's infinite, right? It's the multiverse of arms. But like it's just that thing that like I wish that they could hone it in a little bit, right? Like in the reins.
I think they will, and I think that's a problem with like the Disney Plus coming out at the worst possible moment and needing content for Apple TV. And the guy who was the whoever was running Disney at the time wanting more and more content so they can get more and more subscribers over there. They've only announced 2 episodes of Marvel TV shows for next month or for next year. Like they're cutting back like crazy. And I think even Kevin Feige came out and said it's hard to be in the conversation when we're putting out so much stuff. It's hard to make everything feel special when there's so much. And so I think they are going to rein it in. I think they are going to make some better story choices, better VFX. I have hopes for the future, but like it's sad that we had to go through the last 2 years of just like subpar Marvel when everything before that was so good. Ant-Man had its moments. Like Ant-Man was okay. It was way too heavily CGI for me.
Wait, you're talking about this movie, right?
Yeah, sorry,
okay.
Quantumania.
Yeah.
Quantumania. It had its okay stuff, but there's just so much of it that just didn't work for me. And the farther that they get away from grounding these superhero stories, like Phase 1 of the Marvel Universe was so grounded to the point where like Iron Man's suit had, like they explained how it worked, and it was heavy and it was clunky and it was one guy in a suit and he wasn't just like this like Superman, basically magic character. Now everybody and their freaking dog has a suit that they can just press a button and it pops on and it's bulletproof.
So
and it's
nanotech
blah, blah, blah.
from that Stark technology.
Why does Ant-Man have nanotech all of a sudden?
Because he got it from Stark. That's what's weird.
Why can Stark afford to give everybody a freaking nanosuit?
He's dead at this point.
Half
we
the
have to remember that.
Half the characters in Black Panther all have nanosuits too. It's like when everybody's special, nobody's special, and that gets boring.
What a great comment right there. Yeah, that's a beautiful thought right there, and I agree with you. I just don't. I'm not trying to argue with anyone. I promise.
This is fun. I love this argument.
I'm just here. Like,
I want to argue with you guys.
That, because in a podcast that we had, you talked about this actually and really well. You're like, they went from helping us to believe in a man who had a magical suit, right? A mechanicized suit, who's just a man, to believing that Thanos could come in and do this. And now we're to the point that we've passed Thanos, right? In that saga. And it's become this whole, like, I would almost describe it as like a spaghetti. It's just so much going on that it's hard to contain it onto your plate. And it's going to be messy while you consume it. And that's the content we've been given at this point. So I think, and this is an opinion, right, that they need to rein it in. I don't need 4 Marvel films a year. Actually, sorry, I don't need 8 Marvel films a year. I need 3. Mm-hmm. I need 2 or 3 really solid ones because you're right. Once everyone is special, nobody's special. It's not as exciting to go to anymore. Like, we put it off for how long, Josh, to go to this movie? It's like, what, a week old?
Yeah.
You and I used to go like opening night or as close to, remember? Like, and so like, that's what's weird is like, I remember when they were doing the Star Wars movies and they were releasing once a year, that new Star Wars series. People hate it. I loved just being like, once a year we're going. Mm-hmm. And that was exciting. Event, right? And even though people were like, the story sucked or whatever sucked about that Star Wars, it was still special and exciting and beautiful in that way. And so I agree with you, but I'm curious. I want to know how they're going to rein this in. Is this like the teenage years? Is this the essence of pubescence for Marvel? Are they going to grow back into like a healthy thing? Or are they just going to become like a mess? Do they need therapy? I don't know.
Well, and here's the problem is this movie not only does that, this movie not only is unhinged and wild, everything in the MCU lately has kind of gone too far, and we talk about them needing to rein it in. This movie has to be like the beacon, like the wake-up call that has to happen. Because this movie just has too much that's not necessary. Okay, world building is cool, and they saw an opportunity for world building with the quantum realm, right? People exist down there. There's communities, there's societies, there's all these weird things, this creature without holes, this cool warrior lady, all this stuff. When you build an entire world that feels like Star Wars and Mad Max and freaking everything, and you know that nothing is going to come of it, it's so ungratifying because there's definitely cool stuff in the quantum realm, but it's like it feels so pointless to go down there for this world that like exists all this time down there just for this one movie where you don't really even care a lot about these characters. Like there was some stuff that's cool, but I'm like I want to care about this warrior lady that Cass like kind of forged a bond with. Like I felt like she could have been a cool character. I love William Jackson Harper, and I saw him in there as the mind reader guy, right? And I was like, that's cool. I want to like him. They bring freaking Bill Murray into the MCU just to be like this dick in the quantum realm for a scene. It doesn't need it. And if it does, you just need to focus it and rein it in because it is too much, too far gone. And that's why I could never, this whole movie, I literally, not just like saying this, I actually rolled my eyes multiple times during this movie because I was so over everything they were doing and I didn't care about anything. Even though I love Paul Rudd, it just wasn't it.
They just that's another thing is like I don't think Paul Rudd was allowed to be his charming self. Like that's the biggest disappointment in like looking at it as a trilogy is like the other two let Paul Rudd run. Like they let him just cook and be Paul Rudd and be charming and fun. I know they're trying to do something different with this one, but that's not what I want from a Paul Rudd movie.
And they try to like trick you into that by bookending it with his little like in the mind speech, and it's just.
But then you get
like
into
you can't like throw away all the rest of this movie just saying that it was him.
Those two scenes, great. But then you get into the quantum realm and you start spending time with people, like you said, that you just don't care about. All of those people you mentioned, those quantum realm people, I found annoying. The holes guys, you talk about rolling eyes. This guy's one character arc is to get holes when everybody, almost the majority of these people look exactly like Scott Lang. Like maybe they're different, they're quantum realm people, maybe they're not humans, but they all have holes like he does, but all of a sudden this alien's obsessed with this specific human's holes? Why? That's not funny. Like, it just bothers me. And then...
I would like to interject here and talk about Veeb, who was my favorite character outside of King the Conqueror.
Here it says, what I enjoyed.
Veeb. Look, what I enjoyed, Veeb. I put a photo of him and everything, random and funny. Not sure what he was there for other than the goo and as a translation tool, but bit of a comedic relief. He was a fun character, and when he finally got his holes, what the heck? Awesome. Also, I get that he was obsessed with holes. I get that it was weird, but I liked him a lot. Also, if you want to know who Veeb was really quick, it's David
Dastmalchian.
Yeah, and he's in like every comic book movie, but I love that he can just be all of these things. So sorry to be on the train of I like Veeb, but here I am chugging along.
That's great. I'm happy for you.
I accept that he's not a likable character, and I just want to say that like that's really interesting because I really only cared about like 3 multiverse characters. Bill Murray's character, the Lord whatever his bucket was,
I don't even know,
was a really cool
Krylar.
Yeah, I have it up here.
I'm reading. I wouldn't have remembered.
I really enjoyed like his moment, but like it got kind of weird after a minute.
I really loved the sexual tension between him and
yeah.
What is her name? I can't think of her
Janet.
name. Janet. Yeah.
And Hank sitting right there, and it's like, oh.
Yeah, that worked. That worked for me. It was just like they had this like sexual like history, and that was funny, but it's Bill Murray.
Yeah,
they could have done so much more with Bill Murray than just a couple of fun like we did it jokes.
Well, and that was what was weird too. Is like I was expecting more of a Zombieland type cameo, and it wasn't. It didn't quite live up to that moment, but it was really good, and that moment was cool. But I'm okay with a little bit of on this series. I just want people to know that. Also, sorry, I need to correct my language. A little bit of like crapping on this series because it just
a little poo poo.
A little poo poo. That's what this was. Is a smear of poop on the side of your toilet that won't leave. There you go.
I think that's worse. That's just what you said the first time.
But I'm okay with the hate on Veeb, and I just liked it when like he got shot so many times. I'm like, he's gonna die, and then he's like, oh, so he gets all excited. Like that was fun for me. Like okay, so I fell asleep in the movie actually last night for like 10 or 15 minutes.
Oh no, that says a lot.
Well, I'm also
a new
child.
parent.
Okay, so that doesn't say a lot actually. But I fell asleep for a minute, but what was weird is I didn't feel like I had missed anything because the world building, and I'm going to talk about this with Josh and you, was a little too long. Like, and also Janet why couldn't she say anything beforehand?
I don't know. That's
Like, that was my thing. Is like, I
Plot
get that you're
convenience.
afraid or you're uncomfortable with things because you saw things when you touched his magic ship. That sounded so bad.
I mean, it's what happened.
But it is what happened. But like, okay, like you saw.
Can I interject here? Because this
Please.
is something good that I want to say about the movie.
Please.
Anything I say about the movie probably revolves around Kang. And God, what I wanted from this movie was just more of this Kang stuff. What I wanted was my story in my head that they're leading up to, that they kind of led me to believe that Scott Lang was going to have a reason to trust Kang and to work with Kang. And for whatever reason that be, maybe
That
like
was what
the trailer made
the
it
trailers
seem like
made
that, right?
it.
Yeah, like he was going to get more time with Cassie or something like that. And so he was going to meet Kang and then
Send him back in time.
and Kang was going to be this like understandable guy and explain things eloquently and make Scott understand what he's doing, why he's conquering. You get a taste of that with that conversation between Kang and Janet. Also, sexual history there probably. I would guess. Like they seem pretty.
I'm feeling like there's a little frisky action that happened.
And that stuff was great, I want to see more of that stuff where Kang is being level-headed and explaining things. I just want and the reason why he's being there, and then the turn could be so good when you find out that like, yeah, he's doing all these things, but he's killing off universes, and that's not okay. Like we did with Thanos, Yeah. I wanted to see that with Scott and him, but Scott's over running around with other stuff in the universe that doesn't really matter. When the story that I wanted is between these characters, these small amount of characters. There's too many, like you said, doing their own little things out in the corners, things that I don't care about, and then it just kind of culminates in this giant CGI battle that doesn't really leave me satisfied with a bunch of people that whatever. Sorry, I started going negative again there, but the stuff with Janet and Kang were great.
Yeah, I agree. Sorry.
No, I feel bad. I just along with what Vince says, you said it ended in this giant CGI battle, and you kind of already mentioned a little bit about how the whole movie was just a CGI fest. They go into the quantum realm and they don't come out till the end, right? And you could take any still from once they enter the quantum realm and look at it, and you could be like, oh wow, that's kind of like pretty, that's gorgeous. You could do that for basically the whole movie.
So can my Zoom background.
But but that's the problem. Like, yes, visuals are an important part of a movie, and I love when a movie has something that's just like visually gorgeous and nice to look at. It's really cool. You can't just do it the whole movie though. Like, you can't, it's too distracting. There's too much going on. And like I said, yes, I could pull any scene from the second they enter the quantum realm and look at it, and there would be so many little details about all this cool, crazy stuff. And yeah, it might be like visually cool, but you just got so sick of it. And I was just so done. Like with, like I said, it is cool, but because there's too much of it, it's not as much.
And then it culminates in this giant battle trying to save this universe of people that, like you said earlier, Justin, you don't really care about. I mean, except Veep, I guess.
Oh,
Veep. I don't know. It's just
I
like,
care about Kang as well, is what's weird though. So I wanted Kang to live longer. I'm sorry.
So yeah. Anyway,
Also,
I went
the guy
negative
with
again when
the
I was really trying
magnifying
not to go
glass that
negative.
shot out of his head.
oh, that was such a bummer. He was cool.
Yeah,
I love that.
expected
Dude, he looked like Pathfinder from Apex.
Oh yeah, with the eyeball.
I
on the
saw
side.
him and I was like, oh, he got like that.
He had a cool power.
Right.
Like they had some cool stuff going with him. I'm glad they killed off a character. Wish that, to kind of establish some consequences to this giant universal battle. But they killed off the coolest one.
Okay,
And
do you want to talk about...
the coolest one of the ones that I don't care about?
Yeah.
Okay, and so here's what's going to go on, right? They try to get you to connect to people emotionally and then, like, try to hurt you, right, with that. Even though it's not something... They're obviously not going to do it with any of the main characters because they want to use them again, right? Because they don't have the guts to do that. I talked about this before in Avatar, right? Avatar: The Way of Water.
Yes.
They have this family... and they give you so much information and intro on all of them except for one brother, and then they kill that brother and they try to make you like feel sad, and you just don't. They take the freaking like a villain from the first movie or second, I don't remember. Sorry, Darren, right, who becomes MODOK.
Yeah.
They turn him into this blown up head with baby arms and legs. They have him just be this weird villain who's not even that powerful the whole movie. And then Cassie's like, it's never too late to stop being a you know? And then all of a sudden he's like good and he helps defeat Kang, and then he dies and they're like, oh, Darren, like, I don't give a crap about Darren. Okay? Like, I don't know why you thought that this would be like an emotional moment. Who cares? Like, you brought a character back in from the first movie who's now in the quantum realm because you sent him down there. Okay, like, cool. You made it like a little plot thing. Good for you. No one cares that he died. And if you care, like, let me know, but I don't think really anyone does.
I don't care.
Did you like MODOK?
I did, though. That was the thing. Is like, I didn't love the CGI on his face. I thought that was pretty weak.
Not good.
But the mask and like that lived up to my expectations.
I like that it was all pink, like when he would do all this stuff.
Yeah,
I thought that looked
like,
cool.
That was cool. I think that like kind of like in all reality, the kickoff to Phase 5 overall has been underwhelming, I would say. And so
I want to talk about MODOK. Sorry.
oh, go for it, please.
I just have a couple of thoughts, but I'm sorry to cut you off again. That's the second time I've done it tonight.
You are so okay.
I'm right there with you. I think anyway. I'm with both of you. Like,
Okay.
I liked the idea that they had with MODOK because
Yes.
MODOK is a goofy character. Like, he is a goofy character in the comics and the
Yeah.
other shows I've seen. I like how they tied him in with the past using Darren. I liked the reactions that everyone had when they figured out it was Darren and being like, "What the crap? What happened to you?" You know, funny.
Why
funny
is your
stuff.
head so big?
Worked? That stuff worked for me. But what doesn't work for me? He's literally, his name is an acronym for what is it?
Machine.
Machine designed only for killing.
Yeah,
whatever.
that's
I
it.
can't think of what it is off the top of my head.
Yeah,
but
that's what it is.
he's designed only for killing, meaning that he's been, as long as he's been down there, I don't know for how long, he's been like killing. Like,
Yeah.
he's been going around killing a lot of people, like being a dick or whatever, you know? But his little, like, after killing people for so long, all of a sudden it's just gonna take one teenage girl telling him not to be a dick to be like, oh, you're right, I was being a dick all this time. I guess I'll stop that just for the joke. Like, that didn't work for me. MODOK is not, like, I'm okay with him being a joke, but like, and I'm okay with it being Darren. Like, that works in the cinematic universe for me. It's just like,
Just,
what
like,
they did with him
commit
was
to
just
it.
like, this is a dude that's supposed to be like
Terrifying.
terrifyingly murdering people, and for the sake of a Marvel joke, it's like that's how you're gonna convince him to come back from being a guy designed only for killing. That doesn't work.
Yeah, I felt like that was kind of like a cheap way out too. I think that what they were trying to do is like hit him back to like when he first saw them was like, holy crap, these people, I know them. Like, who am I? What am I? Like, maybe he lost something when he came down the quantum realm. Like, I'm not trying to justify what happened, but the way that they did it was cheap. And I didn't love it in that way as well. So I agree with you. I think the concept and idea was good. I like the gold part of him, except when they dip his little like
His little
squish
bum
bum.
coming out.
That was a good laugh.
funny.
But like,
I
but
enjoyed
like,
that.
it was so much that I didn't understand. And like, I have a gripe with the ending of this movie. To be honest with you, I love this movie, but I have a gripe with them. They should not just have been able to boop, 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 oh, back to Earth, like back to the regular realm. I feel like they should have been stuck in the quantum realm, and that there should have been some repercussions because
Consequences.
they're leaving a freaking mess of society behind. Like, I'm not trying to like justify Kang at all and what he's done, the terrible things, but I would say he gave the community a little bit of order, and now they're going to go back to warring tribes, I would imagine, in a way. So they left a mess, and this has become the trend of these movies, is make a mess, see ya, all's well in the Avengers verse, and I don't like that all the time. And so I would say the ending of this really was the biggest letdown for me, just to be super honest with you.
I didn't like magic science ants coming out of nowhere to save the world.
I
Like,
loved those magic science ants.
So like they have them there in the room, right? And then when they all get sucked in, those ants do too. But somehow, them all getting sucked in, even though some people went first, and then the ants went in the middle, and then Scott and Cassie and whoever also went last, somehow they went through a different, like,
time portal
thing, and
to-
they've built a class 2 society, and they have
want
all
my
of
explanation
this, blah, blah,
of
blah.
this? Do you want my justification?
I want to
explanation
hear your
of this?
justification.
So
I doubt it will
time
change
is
my
different
mind.
for the ants than it is for us. So the amount of time that they went through, and just because they
I
maybe
get
found an
that.
alternate vein, like that would justify the time. Was it? I think it was 1,000 years, right? Is what they said. I could imagine that there being some sort of like difference for humans traveling into the realm versus bugs.
I think they were just like, we have to, like, the answer part of these movies.
We gotta fit them.
They
in.
have to be in here somehow.
Probably one of the graphic designers on this, or somebody who was in charge of animation, worked on Ender's Game and needed a justification to use some old files.
It just felt to me. I mean, it's very comic booky.
I thought it was
But this
cool though.
This is what I'm saying earlier. Like, the farther these get from grounding itself into reality and going into crazy comic book, some people love that. Like, and I get it, because that's what comic books are. They're out there crazy. They're giant, technologically sound ants, you know. Me and my taste, I like grounded superhero movies. I like stuff where they, like they did in Phase 1. I'm sorry, I'm repeating myself, where they even explain Thor's magic as what you call magic, we call science. Let me show you how our science works, you know. All of this is just turned into magic. Oh, conveniently, we have magic science ants that went through a different time vein and all of a sudden became super, super smart. And we need a big action set piece to tear apart this giant community. Let's throw in these ants that are supposed to be in the movie.
I'll give you that.
Doesn't work
That's
for me.
fair
That was
enough.
one of my giant eye roll movies where I was just like, oh, comics, you know? Like, I don't mean to talk bad about comics, but like, there's just some stuff that just takes it one step too far for me, and that was one of those ones.
So
where it's like,
I might be the only person in this room who did not roll their eyes in this film. I enjoyed the crap out of it. I went with no, like, here's what's interesting, and I'm not like picking you guys apart in any way.
I like that you're here to do that to us. To defend
I
it.
never go with any expectations at all, and I'm always heavily rewarded with a good time. You guys are like, I had expectations, but the bar was low, and I walked out having hit my head on said bar. And it's fine that you did that. I'm not mad about it, but I'm just here. I enjoyed the movie for the sake of the movie.
Dude, the bar was so low after I walked out, I think I tripped over it.
Oh, okay, that's fine. But what I'm saying is like, I get where you're coming from. This movie was riddled with potholes, worse than Swiss cheese.
Oh,
but,
can I point out one that I want you guys to answer for me real quick? A plot hole that that has been bothering me ever since.
Go for it.
Then there's other things like poor editing for, like, there's one scene where Cassie shrinks one robot guy and then grows another robot guy right next to her to escape, and then it cuts to a bunch of robots walking down the hall and they don't see a giant robot guy through the ceiling and everything's fine. That bothered the crap out of me. Anyway, that's not the one. The thing that bothered me the most was the natives capture Cassie and Scott and take them to their village, right?
Yes.
They give them the jelly so they can understand them.
The goo.
Don't even talk to me about that, by the way.
MODOK shows up, destroys their village. The natives get angry at Scott and Cassie for bringing MODOK to their village. They brought MODOK and Cassie to their village. Isn't it their own fault for taking these people out of the middle of nowhere? And also,
didn't they like not know beforehand
That's
before
it,
they
right
could talk
there.
to them?
That was my justification.
He was after them because they didn't know
Okay.
that they were like from the upper world or whatever.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not.
That's
like,
not fair to blame them for something that it's not their fault. They're the ones who were imprisoned and taken into their village. Okay, how did MODOK know that they were there?
Whispers and dark agents.
But they're a hidden village. Like, they've been hidden for years, and all of a sudden, he knows. Is it something that I missed?
So there's a
designed
concept.
for killing.
Yeah. There's
Don't ask
find
questions. Is that what you're telling me?
there's a concept that many people know about. It's just called omnipresence, and MODOK knows.
I was just really bugged.
That's a good question.
I don't know,
It's
though.
probably answered in the movie, but I don't remember, and it's been bothering me ever since. So I was hoping you guys had an answer for it. I'm just really bugged that they blame Scott and Cassie for bringing MODOK when they're the ones who kidnapped them and bring them to the city.
Yeah, they
I
didn't
don't care if
know,
they didn't
but
know.
I think that's a justifiable.
It's not their fault.
thing.
They didn't
Yeah.
know MODOK was chasing them either. They didn't want to be in the quantum realm. Sorry. Beside the point.
No, it's good.
I'm done.
Can I talk about my actual favorite scene of this movie really
Yes.
quick though?
Yeah.
Bring us up. Bring us up. We've been
I was
talking.
gonna say
a lot of crap
I have something I want to talk about that's good here soon too.
So, despite my distaste, I'm holding the microphone like I'm standing up, playing it, so like I'm a concert man. Woo! Anyhow, so despite like the kind of weird annoyance of it, I want to talk about the city the Kang built. I thought it was really cool in concept and theory.
Yeah, in
it
concept
did
and theory.
have a little bit of a Coruscant feel from Star Wars. But it was really cool, and I have to highlight the coolness of the thought that like he built a very sturdy civilization that way. And then my all-time favorite scene is actually when Scott and crap, I just blanked on her name. Hope. They go in to go fix the battery, right, with the PIM particles, and
Oh, you mean my least favorite part?
oh, well, great. We can argue about it later.
This is a heated
However,
pod.
what I liked about it was how they become discombobulated, and that the only thing unifying Scott in reality is like his desire to like make sure Cassie is safe, because there's a lot of chaos happening and going on. And then when finally he kind of, it takes a minute, like it's kind of like the Fool, right? He kind of like, it takes a minute for him to figure out that the joke's on him type thing in the way. It took a minute for Scott to figure out, oh, if I focus on everything, we can work together. And I don't know that he did that intentionally, but that was a result of just thinking like, oh, I'm doing this for Cassie. I have to save Cassie. Boom. They built that really cool. And that was an ant type throwback.
That's
right?
that's where they should have like been like, this is he is literally the ants. That's where they didn't need the science ants, because they turned him into the ants. There's your ant.
Yeah, that was the thing, is like there's an article talking about how the ant references are cooler than you thought and the ants are cooler, but I liked how they reference this and how they build up. But I like how Hope just like kind of like figured out how to, like, they're like, ignore them type thing, right? And she
figured it out quickly.
Yeah, she figured out quick. Well, she had the help of her mom. True. She said something, but like, I thought that was a really cool sequence of, and it was actually my favorite, most visually appealing to me sequence of the whole entire film. I didn't love the battle so much. It was cool, and it was like you kind of said, it was a little bit soulless in my opinion. I wanted Kang to disappear and escape from the realm. I want him to, like, the way they showed Kang, and maybe this is, I didn't read the comics, I'm sorry, but Kang should have stepped out and like left his troops to die, in my opinion, because they set him up to be the big bad and not the multiverse kings. And I want to call that out. But my favorite sequence of the war part is when you see Veep running in the thing. He's like, ah!
His little like arms flying.
I don't know what his purpose was in the battle, or even what his weapon was. If it's when he sucked him in and shot everything back out again.
Visually, that was good.
But that was a pretty funny part for me. So I just want to highlight the tower thing and Veep running into battle. But Josh, why did you hate that tower scene?
Guess what?
Oh, what?
100% agree. I actually really liked the ant part. I'm right there with you. I wish that was the culmination of the movie, was the getting in and getting the shrinking down the spiral thing and doing the ant climb thing. That was a great, like, could have been a great climax.
That should have
I thought
been
it looked really cool.
Climax with a fairly quick ending, to be honest with you, in my opinion.
I thought Paul Rudd's or Scott's, kind of story arc kind of came to a close there on figuring out like exactly why he's doing these things, like I figured I even like the Baskin Robbins Scott Lang thing. That's the stuff that I like with Paul Rudd. Like, throw those little funny Scott Lang, Paul Rudd charming stuff. I like that sequence. Didn't really love Hope's play in it, because like Josh said, she figured it out, didn't really have a hard time. Like, I don't remember how they solved it. Anyway, I like that sequence quite a bit too. Don't like the reasoning that it happened though. Really, really bugged that Kang went from this like understandable, like relatable guy with Janet to just devolving into the character of, if you don't do what I want, I'm going to kill your daughter. Like, that's where I would have loved the conversation between Scott and Kang. Like, do this for me, and this is how I can help you. Not do this for me, I'm going to kill your daughter.
Well, this is how I feel about the two. So I feel like there are two versions of Kang here. I'm sorry to interject, Josh, again.
No, you're fine.
So the Kang is a lot like Mask, like, so the Jim Carrey movie Mask. Mm-hmm. So when he gets his armor back and his power back, he's not the same. He's irrational. He is impulsive. He's a warrior. And the other Kang is more the scientist figuring things out.
Do you think he was playing Janet all along?
I think he was, because he had a bigger picture. Because the thing was, his goal was to fix his ship, to be here, and then go to Janet's world, right? That was his whole purpose. And so that's why I thought that was very curious. King's ship up, by the way, very simple, very cool as well, because it's literally a throne.
Yeah, I like that.
I like that a lot. But yeah, that's why, is because he's not fully the same Kang. Because when he doesn't have his access to his power, he is sweeter. But when he does, because he's more of a people person, he's more of a diplomat. But as soon as he gets his power, he doesn't need to be a diplomat.
Okay, so you're not saying he literally changes, but he just reveals who he really is.
Yeah. So I guess the Mask analogy is not perfect, but it's more, well, okay, think Masquerade. People do more foolish things when they have the mask on.
Or when they have power. Like they're more willing to just do what needs to be done when they actually have the power behind doing it. I see what you're saying.
100%, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Josh, why did you hate that scene? I'm very
I
curious.
definitely like over exaggerated when I said it was my least favorite. I just, I love like the confrontation.
Like stirring
And
the
you
pot.
guys actually said a lot of stuff that made me like understand it a little bit more and actually like it a little bit more. But for me, it was just like the whole idea behind it of your different possibilities actually becoming physical presences like in front of you. And obviously we're in the quantum realm, so like any kind of logic is really thrown out the window. But just all of that happening like right in front of it to get this ball out of something that got blown up really big, but you can't get in there because it devolves you. It was just like kind of
Very
bizarre.
ridiculous.
A little bit bizarre to me, which is kind of why I didn't love it as much. But
I would say that it is a bizarre moment. I would say like,
But that's the quantum
Yeah.
mania part. That's the mania.
Well,
the mania.
I'm not. I think that what's interesting about this series is like the quantum realm is so discombobulated in general, right? Like it doesn't quite make sense. Like, am I on Pandora? Am I in space? Am I
in a galaxy?
on Earth? Am I in a galaxy far, far away? Am I in some Star Trek world? I don't freaking
Here's the thing.
know.
Disney wants to do this. They just don't have the balls. They're just going to come out one of these days and be like, guess what? Star Wars, all of that just happens in the quantum realm.
Oh,
That's how we're merging these universes.
John Favreau, if you do that, we will riot against you. I just want you to know that.
All right. I'm going to say something good that I liked about the movie. And this is going to sound like it's condescending almost because it's the smallest little thing. And I don't want that to be like, I only like this tiny little thing. But it was something that I noticed and I really enjoyed. Kang's purple and green suit looked dope.
It did.
It looked
Yes.
really, really good. Like, I loved how that looked. And there's definitely, like, there's obviously a lot of cool villains in the MCU, and they look a lot of different ways. Thanos was, like, cool, and what he could do was cool, and the Infinity Gauntlet was definitely, like, iconic, but I don't know if there was ever, like, a suit that Thanos wore that I was like, that's amazing. I definitely liked, going back to a comment that you made earlier, and I feel terrible because I won't even remember the name, the main villain from Ant-Man 2, Ghost. She looked dope.
Yeah,
I
her suit
loved
was
all of
sweet.
We
her
need more
costumes
Ghost.
and stuff
She's coming.
like
She
that.
can be in Thunderbolts.
Yes, I saw that, and I'm excited for that. And so there's like always good ones. There's some that are cool, some that are less cool. I thought that green and purple suit looked dope, and I also liked. I don't know. I'm kind of just like a purple guy. I also liked Cassie's suit. Yes, it was new, and so it was like maybe it's just because it was new, but I like Cassie's suit as well. Like, it obviously just looked like the same as the other ones, but I was like, the purple, it looked good on her. Just like, I thought it looked nice. You didn't like it? That's okay.
No, I
His problem is the
so
suit's
hard
popping out
not
of
to be
nowhere
negative.
that they don't have to put on.
That. I'm trying so hard not to be negative, but literally I'm just negative through this whole thing. I don't like baby versions of the characters I love. I don't like baby Ant-Man. I don't like I don't know. I just feel like they're doing this Young Avengers thing. I'm not interested in baby versions of a character I already have, of a superhero I already have. I've never been a fan of passing the mantle in the first place. I kind of feel like it. I don't know.
We
don't need to get into
Vince
it.
is saying.
I didn't like Cassie. in
Vince
this.
is saying he doesn't like Sam as Captain America.
I don't. I think it cheapens his role as Falcon. I think he's an awesome character as Falcon. Why does he? No, that's not okay. I take it back. There's a reason that it's cool that he's Captain America. It's because Captain America represents something, and it's cool that a person of color can represent that as well.
Agreed.
Get that one, 100%.
There's a lot though.
Yeah, but I don't need young Ant-Man. I don't need young Superman in DC. I don't need young Thor. I want these characters. I don't need young Iron Man in the Black Panther character. I'm not interested in young versions of a character I've already fallen in love with. I know that they're different. I know that they've got their own personalities, but their power sets are exactly the same. I wish they could come up with something new for these characters. Sorry, that's a tangent we probably don't have time to go into, but I did it.
It's
I don't
interesting.
I didn't like Cassie in this. Sorry.
That's okay. It's interesting to think about that though, the passing of the mantle, right? Because in real life, the people who are playing these characters age out of their character. But in comics, they never age really. Like, we don't see that. Like, right, there are oftentimes, like, we have, like, I'm going to go DC comic. I know it's not Marvel, but we have old Batman, right? And old Bruce and that kind of stuff. Like, people do age at times in comics, but most of the time they're 37 forever, right? Or something like that. Excuse me. But I think that is very weird, but also natural in looking at it from a perspective of these guys can't play their roles forever.
I get it.
But I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm
and
just
those
saying,
characters aren't for me, and that's okay. Like, not everybody's going to be for me, and I get that. And some people probably love Cassie, and some people probably loved Ironheart, you know, like, and especially the younger generation, you know, happy to see a character their age doing these fun stuff. I'm a 35-year-old dude, you know. I'm going to relate to the 40-year-old Ant-Man more than I'm going to relate to the 15-year-old Ant-Man.
Cassie.
I get it. It's fine.
I relate
fine,
mostly to Dr. Hank Pym, to be honest with you.
I'm getting up there too. I just like ants.
Well, that was my favorite
I don't care
line.
about anything else that's happening. I just want to play with my ants.
The ants.
But and I don't know. Do you guys have much more to say about this? Do you have any closing thoughts or statements on this, Vince? And I need you to be able to give it 2 negatives and 1 positive.
half
You
a
have
positive.
to end in the positive.
How about I just say, I started off this episode saying I might be done with Marvel. I don't think I'll ever be done with Marvel. I don't think I have a hard time quitting because I love this franchise.
It's like smoking.
I love them. Like as much as I pick them apart, it's because I love them so much, you know, and I want this universe to work for me, and that's why I criticize so hard, because I want to love it all. I'm not done with it. I'm just really in a low point. It's nothing they can't bounce back from. There was a point before Infinity War where I remember talking like this, you know, where I'm just like, they're just not as good anymore. I'm getting kind of tired of these. Nothing's consequential, blah, blah, blah. And then they bounced back hard with Infinity War, Avengers, Spider-Man. We still haven't gotten to X-Men. We still haven't gotten to Fantastic Four. We're in a world-building stage. I get it. I'll be there when it comes out.
There's
I
a
think
lot
they
to do
recognize that there's some problems. I have faith that they will, like, come back. I love Paul Rudd. I would love more Paul Rudd. I don't know if I need another specifically Ant-Man movie, but if Paul Rudd shows up in future movies, I'll be more than happy to see him. Michelle Pfeiffer is a freaking babe. I love her to death. She was the best part of this movie other than Paul Rudd and King. There's a positive.
Yeah.
One more positive. I loved, you guys referenced that it feels like Star Wars a lot. I loved that kind of stuff. The bar scene, you know, where they go in, it gets kind of ridiculous, but it does give heavy Star Wars vibes with the cantina scene stuff. There's parts in that scene that don't work, but just like that Star Wars vibe to it. I'm a hardcore Star Wars fan. I like that kind of stuff. I liked the giant amoeba monster that popped up. There's some visual effects that I thought were really cool that you just can't do in practical effects that work for me, but you've heard my criticisms. There are some good stuff here. Maybe I'll come back and watch it again like I did with Ant-Man 1 and 2 and have a different take on it now that I know kind of what it is, but a lot of these recent Marvel movies, I haven't had any drive to go back and watch them again. So I hope that sometime in the future I get motivated to revisit, and hopefully they'll work better for me.
I hope that for you too, because I think it's hard, like, and you're talking about something like very truthful, like Marvel has been with us in the current state that it is since 2008. That's when Iron Man came out. Do you remember when Iron Man came out?
Yeah.
Were you away yet?
I was in Puerto Rico.
Oh,
so.
damn it.
But I came back and watched that on home video and was very surprised.
Right. Okay. So I just want to highlight
With
this
how
really
good it
quickly.
was.
When they brought out like Iron Man, it changed movies for me. And my wife and I are actually rewatching all the Marvel movies right now. I didn't bring that up earlier because I kind of wanted to wait to talk about this. And the change in the vibe of the movies is very present to me and how they used to be versus what they are now. And I think that that's kind of weird. However, that's a natural progression. So I hope that this is a slump, that this is the low point. I'm worried it's not. If it continues to be a low point that they can't get out of, make a Howard Duck movie.
Yes, I would love that. Oh, please. Oh, but I'd kind of want what's his name to do it though? The Guardians of the Galaxy director,
James Gunn.
James Gunn, and
Yeah.
he's gonna be busy. So
Okay.
it's,
He's busy.
Here's
But really quickly,
No, sorry,
Josh,
go
my
ahead.
final statement. I still enjoyed this movie, but fix your crap, Marvel. Take all your stuff, put it in a backpack, and fix it. Josh.
They're at a place where what happens next is really delicate, because with the TV series and with this movie and like even with Wakanda Forever, because there was a lot of mixed reviews about what was going on there. There's been a lot of talk about the MCU just not being it and people just really not being into it anymore. Me being one of those people. And this movie kind of set the stage, and it really puts a lot of pressure on Guardians 3 because everyone, I mean, obviously I can't say everyone, but pretty much everyone loves the Guardians series, right? And this is obviously the final Guardians movie, and it's the final one that James Gunn will be directing, and there's a lot of pressure on it because if they don't bounce, like if Guardians comes out and it's not good, that's tough. Like, if there's a Guardians movie, because I know that a lot of people don't like the second one as much as they like the first one, but some people love the second one. And usually, even if people didn't like it as much as the first one, in my opinion, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 holds up and people like it and it's still really good, right? And they love the cast, they love all that stuff. There's a lot that's going on. And they're obviously setting up with all the trailers that are coming out and whatnot, Guardians Volume 3 to be a very big movie as well. It comes out like right before summer hits and all this stuff. If Guardians 3 flops, Marvel is in a big hole that, yeah, maybe they can find themselves out of maybe the Avengers, Kang Dynasty, and those movies that are upcoming and whatnot. Maybe they are just epic and incredible and whatnot. Like, I felt like I was done with the MCU after watching this, but I was like, oh no, Guardians 3 is next. Like, I'm definitely going to watch Guardians 3, duh. And so maybe there will always be that thing for me, but if Guardians 3 flops, I think it's going to be tough. Obviously, I did not like a lot about this movie. I started off saying that it was super terrible, and there are things that I liked about in it, but this is definitely down there with some of my least favorite Marvel movies ever made. And I like usually if I'm going to say something like that, I usually think about it first. Like, do I really think? Nope. I really think that. Definitely like one of the bottom ones I've seen. Mm-hmm. So it's going to be tough. There's a lot of stuff going on, but I also hope they bring it back. Like, am I the biggest MCU fan that's out there? No. But I've also loved their stuff ever since I started watching it. And I've seen mostly everything, not everything, especially with the TV series. But I don't know. We've said a lot in this podcast, so I feel bad just kind of like reiterating that. But just, we talked about Ant-Man, and we're also talking about just the Marvel universe in a whole, and just what's going to happen. Throw back to one of our first episodes. We did an episode about that, right? Like the Marvel universe and where it's going. I think so. Maybe I'm crazy.
We did. And I think that's what's crazy is we talk about the progression of Marvel, right? The progression of our opinions about all these movies and how they change as like time goes on, right? Like you're like, I didn't love Ant-Man and Ant-Man 2 at first. I went back and watched it and it was a different experience, right? And right now we're sitting here at this place and like, I'm going to admit this right now. Thor 5 or 4, Love and Thunder is not the greatest movie in the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Tim.
But
he said it
is it's a good movie. And that's the thing is like we're sitting here.
I haven't seen it.
Oh, really?
Get out.
You're not going to like it.
Get out.
Maybe you shouldn't.
That's the problem. It's like I honestly wouldn't have watched the new Ant-Man if we weren't doing it on the podcast. Yeah. But like we were doing it, so I'm like, yeah, like I'll watch it. We could talk about it and stuff like that. But that's the problem. Like just because even though like Casey liked it, you don't like it. Our buddy Kate, who's been on the podcast, also doesn't really like it. And so I can't find the motivation to go watch Thor.
On an island here is how I feel.
I got to correct you. I don't hate it. Okay. It's not one of the best. There's things I like a lot about it, but overall, I don't consider it a real part of the Marvel MCU.
Well, here's my thing, right? You know how back in the day they had B films for certain franchises? Mm-hmm. Marvel needs to accept that they have some B films going on, if that's where we're at. But I think that they can come out of this. I think they can, tighten the reins and recover. So we got a lot to live up to. We got Guardians 3, which is the end of a huge era within the Marvel Universe. We have other series and movies coming out, and I'm hoping that they can rekindle that fire of what made it special.
It's more fun to watch these movies when everybody agrees that they're good. I mean, when they are good, so everyone is having a good time. That's what I'm trying. They're more fun to watch these movies when everyone's having a good time together.
I like it, the divisiveness of this conversation.
I do, but not to extend this conversation for too long, but just go back and think. Do you remember when Endgame came out?
That was fun.
Movie theaters were sold out weeks ahead. like a week ahead with when Endgame came out, and everyone was talking about it, and it was this whole thing. Oh, don't spoil it. Who's seen it? Who hasn't seen it? And it was just everywhere. And of course, there are always people who are just like not into it and they haven't seen it. But that was definitely a good time, and where Marvel was really doing it, and it was just a fun, social, like pop culture time, you know? And I just like want Marvel to have another one of those, because I'm super happy that right now we've got The Last of Us, because that's definitely a big pop culture one that's going on right now, and it makes me happy. I want Marvel to be back there. It's just not right now.
I have an argument for you.
Okay.
You got 3 minutes.
Theater
2 minutes.
culture has died because of what happened the last few years, and it's on a recovery stream, in my opinion.
Oh, recovery.
So not dead.
Not dead. But
Just on in the hospital bed.
in the hospital,
it's had
getting
a
better.
terrible bender.
Got
and
stabbed
we're
with
trying
got stabbed with the end of a bat and is
Yeah,
stitched
yeah.
Ah, yes.
Last of Us reference, nice.
Casey.
But what I'm saying here,
So it will beep it out.
blank. But no, sorry, you can just cut that out. But what I'm saying is I think it's going to take some time to rebuild that pop culture moment that we're talking about, right? I don't feel that anymore at any movie or any type of thing. We're having a big moment at home watching these series. Why? Because we're at home sitting on our couches. We didn't have to go anywhere. People still want that. The culture of theaters has changed enough that it's hard to recover. So I'm chalking a lot of things right now up to the fact that people still aren't going back out to the theaters. Theaters haven't recovered.
I saw it in the theater and I hated it. That's all I'll say to that.
Guess what? You. That's how I feel. That's how I feel.
And that's the Pause Roll and Play podcast.
And thank you for tuning into the Pause Roll and Play podcast. Really quickly, I apologize for the amount of vulgarness in this film, but I do want to say a special thank you to my father-in-law, Josh's father, Tom. He hooked us up with some ticks.
Oh
He
my
did.
gosh, we're terrible. Oh my goodness.
What?
No, just like, I'm glad we're mentioning it now, but we said that we were going to like mention this.
Say it was a special sponsored segment.
This was-
failed. Sorry, Tom. But I want to shout you out. I know you've been listening to these on your drive, but you hooked us up with some ticks. And I just want to say thank you for sponsoring Josh's and I's experience. Sorry, Vince.
You didn't get paid for it.
You didn't get sponsored. So this is 2/3 of the way sponsored by Tom Wilpink. Thank you. But we appreciate you, Tom. And to everyone else who tuned in really quickly through this, I also want to say thank you to my friend Flip for hooking us up with a comment about the series. I'm going to start asking more of those on my Instagram and probably through the podcast Instagram soon and Facebook, just to kind of get a little bit more community engagement. Vince, will you talk about what's right here really quick before we close out?
Oh yeah, that's our subscribers count.
The subscriber count.
That is our subscriber count to YouTube. So thank you to all the new subs. We've been steadily moving up. So let us know what kind of content you like. I just been throwing up like random shorts cut from the thing. I hope people like it. We seem to be growing. So if you hate it, let me know. If you like it, we'll keep doing it. We can put a little more effort into shorts, but whatever. Thanks for subscribing. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
It's fun to do this, but it's fun to see that number grow. There's some like analytical brain in back here. It's like, it's going, it's moving.
Well, it's kind of like a goal for us to grow now, right? It's like it's kind of like passing from a light hobby into something that's realistic and reality we want to happen. And I really I know I've shouted out thank you to Vince before, but like Vince built this set. He's put a lot of time and effort into things. So just I'm not trying to like butter you up because I want something from you. I just want to say thank you. Literally I'm gonna hurry and just recap a quick history. I know we're trying to close this out, but you don't even have to add this to the podcast. It can be its own separate segment if you want. But we started this podcast just kind of as a text thing. Do you want to start a podcast? Loop Josh in. And we started that in 2019. And we're still here in 2023. Is it 2024? I don't even know. 2023. Okay. I was I don't know what year it is. But it's crazy how it has grown in all that we've done. And so I just want to say thank you to both of you. Because literally this was a pipe dream I had for a little while. And then we started doing it and it's continued. And at different points in this whole series, you guys have made each an effort to get things rolling and going, even when one or the other of us may have been in a slump and had a hard time. Each of us have kept it together. And Vince, you're the one who's leading the charge right now. I just want to say thanks again.
Well, get ready to pick up the flag in a little bit.
Yes. Just thank you guys, and you guys especially. We wouldn't do this if there weren't people listening. To all our friends who've been guests on it, please come back, be guests again. But thank you for coming the first time, and to the rest of you, comment. Let us know what you think about things. Let us know your opinions and thoughts on these movies. They might make an appearance in the actual upcoming episodes. So once again, thank you as always for tuning in to the Pause Rewind Play podcast. We'll catch you next time.